Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name's Alexa, and in today's video, we will be talking about the 26 books I read in the month of July. Now this month was really fun. It was filled with like 3 rereads, which is crazy. I usually don't reread many books, like once every now and then, and I had a good amount of 5 stars. So we had 6 5 stars that were absolutely new reads, and we had 3 5 stars that were rereads. So a total of 9 5 stars out of 26, which is pretty great, although some were rereads, so those were given 5 stars. I never remove like or revoke a 5 stars from a reread, but 6 new 5 stars is crazy because that's a good chunk of the 5 stars that I've had this year, and like some were even like 6-star reads, I would say. I also read 11 books on my physical TBR, which is insane. For once, I've read more books on my physical TBR this month than I added, which is crazy. I don't remember the last time that's happened for me. So yeah, as always, I'm going to start with the books on my physical TBR, and then we'll switch over to the books that I read on my Kindle. First, we have Alive and Wells by Bailey Hannah. This one is a cowboy romance. I rated it a 4.25 stars out of 5. I love a good cowboy romance. This one was fun. It takes place in BC. I think in the mountains in BC, because there's mountains on the cover, and they do go into the mountains in the book. I don't know where exactly, but I think it's like 5 hours away from Vancouver. But yeah, no, this one was a really fun read. I had a fun time. I binged it in one evening. The audiobook for this one, really good. I started, I read 30% of it through the audiobook while working, and then when it was time to go to bed, I binged the other 200 pages I had left, and absolutely loved it. It was such a fun read. I had such a good time, and it will definitely be continuing this series, and on top of that, it is a Canadian author, so that's fun. After that, we have a 5-star, an unexpected 5 stars, and it is Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. The other book I ever read by her was The Hating Game, and I ended up DNFing it. It was one of my favorite DNFs ever, but I decided to pick this one up once I was at like a thrift store and it was $2, and I was like, okay, I'll get it. Like, it looks fun. And I read it in probably 2 days. It was so cute. I had an amazing time. I loved both of our main characters. I love the random involvement of turtles in the story. And our male main character, Teddy, was just amazing. I loved that everyone else thought he was like a super like unorganized, like the type of guy who rides a motorcycle, like the typical quote-unquote bad boy, and they were like, oh, he's not good for you. But meanwhile, he was like, organized my life for me, I don't know what I'm doing, and he was just the sweetest guy ever. A turtle lad. He randomly, okay, one time, this happens in the first 20% of the books, I'm not even spoiling, but one time he accidentally steps on a turtle and decides to make it his mission to like make sure that the turtle is good for like rehabilitation, like, and he just takes care of the turtle as if it was his child. And it was just the cutest thing ever. It was random, but honestly, I really loved it. And it was one of my favorite books this month. I mean, duh, it's a 5 stars. But it was just an incredible book, and I will definitely be rereading it sometime soon. Just so cute. After that, we have Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. You guys know in June, I read Ready or Not by her and absolutely loved it. One of my favorite books of all time. And sometimes when you read like a book by an author, it's your first book you're reading by them, and it's a 5 stars, like, and it becomes 6-star, like god tier book, and you're absolutely adoring it, and they have another book out, you get stressed because you're like, oh no, are they gonna live up to the hype? Well, I can promise you guys, Cara Bastone lives up to the hype. This book, I finished it yesterday morning. I cried a couple times while reading it. It is such an amazing book. I feel like Cara Bastone is really amazing at writing friends to lovers with friendships that are so deep that like neither of them know when it kind of went from friends to like more, or when they fell in love with each other, but it's 2 people caring for each other so deeply that they end up falling in love with each other throughout like that whole journey. And they're both going, like, in both books, our main character is going through their own thing, like separate of the romance, and it's just absolutely perfect. The writing is amazing. The pacing is amazing. There's enough angsty moments mixed with some really sweet, cute moments, and just absolutely wholesome characters. After that, we have Overruled by Lana Ferguson. As you guys know, I really loved Under Lock and Key by her. I liked The Nanny, liked The Game Changer, but I really liked her most recent release before this one, and I was hoping that, like, since I was liking her releases more and more as she was coming out with them, I was hoping that I would keep loving the next books more and more, and this one was so good. What I loved about this one is they kind of had already established, like, our 2 main characters had already kind of established a relationship already. They knew each other, so it's like they already had habits and like were comfortable enough with each other, so it always shows like an extra level of vulnerability when the characters already know each other, especially if it's like they currently still know each other. It's not like a second chance romance where like, oh, we haven't talked to each other in 15 years or like 7 years and now it feels like we're getting to know each other again. Like they have known each other for years and they've had kind of an on and off like friends with benefit thing, but it was so good. I really loved it. There was really funny banter between our two characters and it was kind of a one-sided enemies to lovers. She kind of hates him but also kind of likes him, and he just likes her and thinks she's really cute. And that is my favorite type of book, honestly, when it's like one-sided enemies to lovers. After that we have The Bridge Kingdom. Oh no, I read 26 books actually. 26 or 27. My god, I read 27 books. I just realized that I may or may not have read actually 27 books, and there was 2 books that I forgot to add to this list. Sorry. So after that we have The Bridge Kingdom. I forgot to add the first duology in this series into my Goodreads. So first we have The Bridge Kingdom and its sequel, The Traitor Queen. Yeah, The Traitor Queen. This one I gave a 3.75 out of 5. No, I think 3.75 out of 5. I wasn't 100% vibing with it. I was like, I liked the world building, but there was moments where like I could feel myself kind of not unfocused, but like I was struggling to focus on this and like on the book. And when I was listening to the audiobook, there was moments where I was like, oop, I forgot that I was listening to an audiobook and got too focused on the task that I'm doing at the moment. And it's not because it's like, oh well, maybe you need to stop listening to audiobooks. It was just I was struggling. The book was kind of struggling to keep my attention, but everything else was really good. There was a good amount of like my wife moments because it's a marriage of convenience, well, arranged marriage by like their parents for like treaties. She's now forced to become the queen of this kingdom that she was told that she needed to hate and is super evil her entire life, but it's kind of also a hidden kingdom. Well, it's called the Bridge Kingdom. It's literally a kingdom that's made up of islands and there's a bridge that connects all of them. That's really cool. And then she has to go marry into it, and the mission that her dad, who is the king of her kingdom, like the mission he gives her is like you have to infiltrate it and make him fall in love with you and then betray him. But then she finds out that what she thought was real is maybe not exactly as it seems. The first book I really like, I enjoyed, I didn't love, but the second one, The Traitor Queen, was absolutely amazing. It was a 4-star for me. It was a great fantasy read. I had a fun time reading it. Maybe there's a few moments in the plot where I felt like we could speed things up, like we didn't have to go over the same thing and maybe our two characters could have communicated more and been a little less mean to each other, so that's why it's like a 4-star, but I still had a really great time reading it and like I still absolutely binged this duology in 2 days. After that we have A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the second book in the Blood and Ash series. I really love this book. It was a 4.5 out of 5. I had such a great time reading it. It was a great fantasy read. After what happened in the first one, I was kind of scared to see where it was gonna go. I absolutely love where Jennifer L. Armentrout took the story, and I am so excited to read the second one. I haven't started it yet. I really need to, but I'm just so excited. It was so good. I can't really say much without spoiling the book, but it was just really good and I had such a great time reading it. Then we have Till Summer Do Us Part by Megan Quinn. This one was a 4.75 star read. I had such an amazing time reading it. It was one of the funniest books I've ever read, honestly, because our two main characters kind of have to fake being married because she told her boss, oh, you know, I'm married, but like me and my husband are going through marital troubles, because everyone at her office is like married, but she feels left out and feels like that's what they all talk about, like their spouses and all that. And she's like, oh, I went antiquing with my husband this weekend, and they're like, oh, you have a husband? And then one of her coworkers is like, oh, but I don't see a ring on your finger. And she's like, actually, now that you talk about it, like you say that, and I didn't want to talk about it much, but me and my husband are going through marital troubles. And then her boss is like, oh, actually, by the way, I wanted to talk to you. And then the boss is like, by the way, my husband is the best marriage counselor in the country, so like I can like get you off, like I can get you an appointment without even having to be on the wait list and blah blah blah, like at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And she can't really say no, so she ends up saying yeah, sure. And then she realizes, oh wait, I don't have a husband. So then you see moments of them in their first therapy appointments having to fake arguments, and it's just so funny. And then the person who she gets to be her fake husband is her best friend's brother, who is a retired 27-year-old who made an app that sold for millions, and now he's kind of like rich, and he decided to have his life be side quests. Like he volunteers most of the time, but he also got super into improv, and he got way too into the whole therapy thing, like the improv. And accidentally ropes them into going on a 8-day marriage camp in upstate New York. And it's just so funny because they have to pretend to be married in front of everyone, and they have to pretend to be fighting and like be on the brink of divorce. And it's just so funny and so good. And I just absolutely loved it. Also, it's just absolutely breathtaking. After that, we have Neon Gods by Katie Robert. This one is the first book in the Dark Olympus series, and this one was a 4.25. I was expecting it to maybe be in the 3.75, 4-star maybe range before picking this up, but I absolutely binged this book. I had such a great time reading it. I did part audiobook with like Spotify audiobooks and most of it on like the actual paperback, but I am so excited to read the rest of the series. I actually have all of the other ones, I think up until like book 8, borrowed on Libby right now, so I will absolutely be binging them in the month of August. Probably do like a weekend binge. I'm just so obsessed with this world, and I am so excited to read more of Katie Roberts' books. Like, I knew I was gonna like it, I just didn't know I was gonna love it as much as I did. And I thought it was gonna be a lot darker romance, but it wasn't super dark. It was just the perfect amount of like, it wasn't a dark rom-com, it was just like kind of dark romance, you know? Like, it's the perfect introduction to dark romance if you've never read the genre. After that, we have the entire Campus Diary series by Elle Kennedy. These were all 5 stars. The first one was The Graham Effect. This one is about Gigi, who is Garrett Graham's daughter and Hannah Wells. And basically it's kind of an enemies to lovers, I guess. She kind of hates him, but they also kind of start talking and being friends, and they just kind of start being, I don't know. Why am I saying this? This one was really good. It is my least favorite in the series, but it was still a 5 stars. Like, I really wasn't expecting loving this series as much. I knew it was gonna be at least 4 to 4.5 stars. That's usually what her books are for me, but I've only had one of her books be a 5 stars, and that before the series, and that was The Deal. But I feel like this series gave me the same vibes that the off-campus, like the first 2 off-campus books gave me, and it was really fun seeing the characters that I absolutely love, like as background characters, and like all of our main characters from the off-campus and Briar U series kind of pop in every now and then. Now, I think maybe if it wasn't for like the nostalgia of those first 2 series, maybe it would have been a 4.75 stars, but because you can kind of see all of our favorite characters from those first 2 series being like parents and aunts and uncles and like their kids all being friends, it made me love it even more because it feels nostalgic. You feel like you're just getting bonus content of your favorite characters. After that, we have The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy, of course. This one was my absolute favorite in the series. It was so good. I honestly thought that this one was going to be my least favorite book in the series. I thought that my ranking was going to be this one on the bottom, The Graham Effect second, and The Charlie Method third, but this one was my favorite. I think that's what made me love it even more, because it was so unexpected. I was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna love it as much because I didn't really see Diana in the first books, and you kind of saw Shane Lunley, but I was like, I don't know if he's gonna be the best boyfriend. But I love how he interacted with Diana, and it was just, their banter was really good, and I loved the fake dating aspect of it and how he kind of went along with everything with the dance competition. It was just so good. And the last physical book we have is The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy. I had such a fun time reading this. Although it's my second favorite, it almost is like as high as The Dixon Rule. It's just like a notch under, but this book was so amazing. I loved it so much. I loved Will, I loved Beckett, and I really loved the ending. At first I wasn't sure about the ending. I wasn't sure if I loved it or not because it kind of felt like abrupt, but honestly I really enjoyed it a lot more than the more I thought about the ending, the more I was like, yeah, no, it actually is the most realistic ending they could have had in this scenario, because these are still like college kids that need to take work opportunities. I'm not gonna say work because it would spoil, but I really love this book, and I loved how Beckett and Will were so protective of Charlie. And honestly, I'm probably gonna reread it sometime soon. Now for the books that I don't own physically but I did read, we have Tourist Trap by Morgan Elizabeth. This one was such a good read. It was a 4.75 star. I had an amazing time reading it. I binged it. I keep thinking about this book since since like I haven't stopped thinking about this book since I read it. I just had such a great time. It's such a fun book. You guys know I love a good Morgan Elizabeth book. This one is in kind of age gap, not really. It's like 26 and 31, I think. And it is also a ex's brother, so that was fun. And I just had such a good time. I loved the cover, and I don't know why, but loving the cover added to my reading experience. And I love a good forced proximity book where they have to be roommates. It's such like a fun concept that I will eat up every time. And this one was one of my favorites that I read with that like trope. After that, we have 3 Sarah Kate books. We have Keep Me, Mercy, and Highest Bidder. So Keep Me was a 4-star, Mercy was a 3.5, and what was, I can't remember what they were, I think Highest Bidder was also a 3.5. No, Highest Bidder was a 3.75. So Keep Me, I absolutely love. At first, I wasn't super sure because I felt like our male main character was being a little too mean to our female main character, but at the same time, she was also mean as well. And then later on in the book, you kind of find out the reason why he's kind of not mean, but just ruder than he should be. And you realize that it's like he has a lot of trauma that makes him be the way that he is. And it doesn't excuse why he was that way, but it makes you understand him better. And I just absolutely loved the banter between our 2 main characters. And you guys know I love a good audiobook with an accent. This one was an audiobook with a Scottish accent. You guys know I love Scottish and Irish accents. It was just absolutely, like, it was a really absolutely fun read. And then Mercy is probably my least favorite so far in the Delicious Players Club series. I don't know, I didn't vibe with it as much. It was kind of fun. Like, it was a fun read, but just didn't vibe with it as much as the other books. And Highest Bidder was also, it's the 5th book in that series, I think. Yeah, second to last book. And that one I originally thought was gonna be my favorite when I read all the blurbs of the series when I first started reading it. But honestly, it was fun, but I don't know, I just felt like there was some miscommunication, and I didn't fully love the plot execution. So like everything else was really fun and great, but the plot execution and some of the ways that our characters kind of interacted in some scenes, I just didn't love as much, you know? And like sometimes I kind of felt myself getting bored, but it was still like a really fun book. And I just might have not been in like, I might have not read it in the perfect moment, but other than that, it was really fun. After that, we have Into the Woods by Jenny Holiday. It is the second book in the Canadian Boyfriend series. This one I really liked. I love when one of our characters is like a rock star and the other one is kind of like mostly unaware of, like, is aware of who that person is, but kind of is like, I don't care that you're famous. In this book, it's kind of a forced proximity situation as well. They're both stuck at a camp for the summer. It's like a camp where artists mentor children. It's like in a lake, at a lake in Minnesota somewhere. And our female main character is a dancer, I'm pretty sure, and she has a dance studio in Minnesota in her hometown, and she kind of thought she was going to be like a choreographer, stuff like that, but she's kind of stuck in where she is, even though she's opening a new dance studio. And our male main character is a rock star. He is the drummer of a band, like a huge rock band that just broke up, and it was such a good read. I had a really great time reading that book. It was a I forgot to tell you guys, 4.25 stars. I didn't love it as much as Canadian Boyfriend, but I still had such a great time reading it. It is a super fun read, and I love reading like books that take place at a camp. I don't know why, but it's just some of my favorite reads, and the chemistry between our 2 characters was just so cute. I just loved it. Then we have one book I didn't love as much. It's The Odds of Getting Even by, what's the name of why is the name of the author blanking in my mind? Because I have in front of me, I have the names of the books, but I don't have the names of the authors. Let me go check on Goodreads. By Amanda Sillett. This one was did I put a 2 or 2.5? This one was a 2.5 out of 5. There was moments in the book where I was like, okay, maybe I think this book is like getting better. Maybe I think I'm liking it a bit more, but then there was like, it kind of plateaued and I was like, oh, it's not that good. Like, it's not getting that better. And I liked both of our main characters, but I liked them as individual people. I didn't like them in a relationship together. I have more thoughts on the book on Goodreads. Like, I have a full-blown review, so if you want to read more, then go there. Like, I'm not gonna go fully into it. I don't, like, if I didn't love a book, I don't always go fully into it. Like, if you really want to read my review and know my full thoughts, then definitely go on Goodreads, but like, just gonna stop there. After that, we have 6 books by Rena Kent. I was binging Rita Kent books this month, and we have, first of all, the Royal Elite epilogue. I originally was going to read all of her books in the like release order, and then I decided not to because I read that book and I was like, I at least want to finish the Royal Elite series, then I'm going to start the, is it like Vow of Deception series or whatever, or like something lies, and I really loved it. It was a great like last book in a series, a great epilogue novel that kind of gave us, I don't know why I said you, I'm the one who read it, gave us closure on what the characters are doing now, what their lives are going to look like, and it was just like a fun book of all of our characters being happy, and I just really had a great time. That one was a 4-star. Wasn't necessarily more than that, but it was definitely one of my favorite books in that entire series. And then I was like, wait, actually I've been reading this, like all these books only to get to the Legacy of God series. Why am I reading them all in order if I just could skip to the Legacy of God series, since I just read the books where it was like the parents of most of the characters? So I decided to skip to the entire Legacy of God series. So I read the first 5 books in the Legacy of God series, and actually now it's August, so it's gonna be my August wrap up, but I actually did finish the Legacy of God series this morning on this afternoon, August 1st. But I read God of Malice first, and that one I decided to not give a rating because it was one of the darkest books I've read, and because of some things I'm unsure of what my rating would be if it was a rating, so I decided not to give it a rating and just read it at your own, like definitely read the trigger warnings before reading this book. Like it's definitely not for everyone, and I can completely understand that. For me it was like the darkest I'll stop at, you know, like that's where I'll stop, but like it was still a good book if you remove some things that do happen in this book. After that I read God of Pain. This one was a 4 stars. It's definitely not my favorite in the series, but I really enjoyed it. It was a good book. I think it's my 3rd favorite overall, my 3rd or 4th favorite. And I really liked not Cecily, it's Annika. I really liked Annika and Creighton, but I feel like there's some things that maybe we could have not sped up in the plot, but I felt like some things were getting repetitive. I'm like, okay, yes, you're gonna kidnap her, all that, but like just do it at some point, you know? Like I felt like there was way too much miscommunication between our 2 characters. After that I read God of Wrath. This one is Landon and, is it Landon's book? No, it's Jeremy. Yeah, this one is Jeremy and Cecily's book. This one is one of my favorites. I loved it. It was such a fun book. Jeremy is definitely one of my favorite guys in the Legacy of God series. It's definitely not my favorite, but he's definitely not my favorite, but he's definitely one of my favorites. It was a really fun book, and the way that he built her a shelf and bought her favorite mangas to fill it in his house so that she would be able to read them when she's staying there. I love that. It was so good. Although didn't absolutely love some parts in the 3rd act breakup, I still really liked that book. Like it was a 4-star. Most of them are 4 stars actually, I think, other than the last 2, because then we have, actually no, God of Ruin isn't a 4-star. It's a 4.25. Then we have God of Ruin, which is a 4.25 stars. I liked, like, I don't know why, but I really liked Landon's point of view. I mean, for sure he's a diagnosed sociopath, and it's kind of interesting to see what is going on into someone like what's going on in the mind of someone like that. It was kind of crazy, but also very entertaining because you're like, it's very direct and almost emotionless, like the thoughts that he had, and I was like, okay girl, go off, I guess, most of the time. And I absolutely loved Mia. I think like Mia was definitely the only person who could be with him and put him in his place. She was not afraid to like, if he was going too far, like kick him in the nuts. Like she was a girl boss. I loved her. So like I liked that they were kind of matching each other's insaneness and craziness. And lastly, in that series that I read in the month of July, we have God of Fury, my favorite book in this series, 5 stars. I loved Nikolai and Brandon. They were so cute, and I cannot wait also to read Gareth's book because it's actually his next book that I need to read, and I have the audiobook, like Kiss the Villain. I loved Nico and Brandon. I loved how completely unhinged, chaotic, I feel like all those words could be used to describe Nikolai. I loved how unhinged he was. He was like, oh yeah, Brandon likes to go on runs in the morning, so I'm just gonna follow him on his runs all the time. And he didn't necessarily like, because I guess he wasn't really stalking him. He was just showing up everywhere he was going, but like just fully being like, yeah, no, I'm here. I knew you were gonna be here. I stalked your Instagram. I like every single day, so I know you're doing this, so I'm just gonna hang out with you now. And Brandon's like, you are a literal psychopath. Leave me alone. And he's like, sure, yeah, no, definitely won't do that, but okay, girl. It was really chaotic and unhinged, and I love it. And I also love that whenever you switch to Brandon's point of view, even though he was saying, leave me alone, I don't want you to do this, he was secretly hoping that Nikolai would not listen to whatever he was saying. And he was also kind of obsessed with Nikolai on his own. He's like, even though he wasn't admitting to himself that he liked Nikolai and he wouldn't let anybody else like be with Nikolai, and whenever Nikolai would be hanging out with anyone else, he would like become super possessive. And I honestly, it was kind of like both people who, like two people who are absolutely unhinged together, but one is always unhinged and lets his unhingedness be like fully, I don't know, one's an open book and like everyone knows that he's unhinged, and the other one is kind of like a secret unhinged person. That was a really bad way of describing it, but you guys know what I meant. Like, it was really an absolutely amazing book. Also, the last 200 pages, I bawled my eyes out, okay? The rest of the book is super unhinged and like you're having a fun time, and then all of a sudden Rena Kent decides to stab you in the heart. Not like stab you in the back, no, she like takes a knife to your heart. I sobbed my eyes out because I was like, oh yay, they're happy now, life is great. And then she's like, haha, no, actually no. Like, she really reveals a huge secret and actually has something happen that is probably like, if you're not counting a book that's like fully angsty, one of the most angsty things I've ever read in a book. I was like, okay, just honestly, you could have pushed me in front of a train and like have a train run over me, whatever, roll over me, and it would have been less painful than that plot twist. I cried. I was preparing to go to bed. I was gonna be like, so I was listening to the full thing on audio because I heard that God of Fury was like the best in the series. If you're gonna listen to one on audio, it was definitely gonna be God of Fury, and I definitely agree with that. We should all listen to God of Fury on audio instead of reading it. It was absolutely perfect. I think it's it was Shane East and Teddy Hamilton. Some of the best audio narrators out there. Love them, especially Teddy Hamilton. Love him. But basically I was like, okay, yeah, it's like 9:30 or something like that. I'm gonna go to bed. Like, it's getting late and I think we're getting to a point where it's gonna be the perfect moment. I'm just gonna listen to one more chapter. Well, if you've read the book, that chapter was the one huge chapter where that thing happens. I know I'm being super like non-descriptive of like what actually happens, but I can't spoil you because it literally happens like 85% in. Well, that's what happened. And I was like, oh, well, yes, I'm gonna sob here and sit here until I finish this book because I need to get closure. I need to finish this and I need to have my babies be happy. But yeah, no, all of this to say, I absolutely adored that book. It is now it is my now new favorite Rena Kent book of all time. I love it so much and I want to buy special editions of it and own it. Lastly, we have Reckless Hearts by Jay Wilder. I actually didn't expect I don't know why, but I thought we had more books to talk about this month, but I guess time flies when you're having a good time, you know? And I guess because I didn't do the books in order that I thought we had more books to talk about, but no, this is the end. It is the last book. This book was a solid 4.25 cowboy romance book. I had a great time reading it. I will definitely read, I don't know if she has other cowboy books, not cowboy book. Is it a series? It is not a series, I think, but ooh, she has other books. She doesn't have other cowboy books, but she does have hockey romances. Ooh, I will definitely be reading that. Ooh, and a holiday book. I will be reading those books as well. I had such a great time reading it. It was I think it was quick. I think it was like somewhere between 300-400 pages. I may be completely wrong though. And once again, I was completely wrong. It was 494 pages. So it was not a quick fun book, but it was a long fun book. I think I read this in like 3 days. I was reading a lot slower in the month of which month are July. The month of July. I was reading a lot slower, but it's because I was reading individual books slower, but I was reading like 5 books at a time. I was reading like 20% of NARC, 20% of this other book, 20% of a Kindle book, and then we're listening to an audiobook. So like it would take me days to finish books, but then there was one day where I would finish all 3 books that I was reading. But I was having a great time. I really, really had a fun time reading this. I read 2. That means I read, 2 White Shoes books this month. And I will be reading more every single month, but it was my second Cowboy White Shoes, but it was my favorite one that I read, and I will be reading more. If you guys have more Cowboy White Shoes recommendations, leave them down in the comments, and especially where it's like MMF, not MFM, because the boyfriends were boyfriends. And okay, one thing about this book, it's that it was the girl was best friends with the 2 guys for her, like they were all friends their entire childhood, and then her dad dies, something happens, she leaves, she skips town, and then both of them, they kind of stay close for a couple years because they were like basically, they were not together because they were like too young to know what being together was with like 3 people, but they were inseparable their entire childhood. But then she leaves and then something happens with both of them, so the 2 guys end up hating each other. But then the one girl decides to come back for the summer because she just graduated college, and they kind of, she's like, why are you guys hitting each other? And like they really loathe each other. There is like tension between the two. It is like you could cut the tension with a knife, but it was like it was really fun seeing the banter between the two, and then kind of the, oh, but we've hated each other, why am I now finding him hot? Because they end up having to share a room every time they're at a motel, because there's not enough rooms for like her to be able to have her own room, or like her to have a room, so they give her one of their rooms and they kind of sleep in the same room at a motel. And then like there's a scene where like I think it's like the dark and broody one comes out of the shower and like is wearing a towel, and then the like kind of golden retriever guy out of the two is looking at his back and staring at his back, is like, wait, why is his back hot? Never found a guy or a back hot before, and is confused, and then they kind of end up all dating. It's so good. Sorry, I know I ranted about this book for like 2 minutes, but it was a fun book and I had a great time reading it, and I will definitely be reading more of Jessa Wilder's book in the future. I actually don't know if she's ever going to release another cowboy romance, but if you are seeing this, please release more. But I think this one it came out in May of this year, so there's probably for sure not another one coming out for another year. But I had a great time. Sorry, I ranted a lot. Well, not that much during this video. I ranted less, but I feel like I ranted more about books. I'm becoming better at making shorter videos. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's a couple days later. I forgot to film the outro. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. If you want more of my content, then definitely go check it out on Instagram, TikTok. I also post shorts here on YouTube basically every day. And yeah, I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever time it is for you guys. I love you, and as always, I will be seeing you guys next week.